We've invited someone. His name is Adrian Starks. Adrian is a friend and a lover of Jesus. I know that personally. But also, Adrian is a public speaker, a narrator, and writer. During his spare time from working at the Seattle Children's Hospital, he spends his time reading and teaching about the power of voice. He loves motivating, speaking, inspiring, and living through God's grace and love. And he believes that we first live through God and then help others to be able to serve God. And we're here to leave a legacy for children to follow. So I love what Adrian brings, and I'd like to invite him up to share with us this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. And as Allison said, Martin Luther King to me meant a lot growing up as a child. It wasn't just about certain race, it was about the human race. And so this piece I wrote in perspective of Martin Luther King and what it meant to me as far as his time, his era, and how it presents itself to us now. This piece is titled, Mr. King. We have all become entrapped with this remedy called dreams. The ingredients of hope and desire cooked up by this master of a chef has kept us all from ingesting the poisonous nightmares, making our lives work, tolerating against the negative and opposing things. You see, closing my eyes, I can recollect that wise man projecting his dream, and it did come true, allowing us to reach for the stars, to renew those explorations of thoughts of the few who just deny these visions of a better world. They're only blinded and forgiven fools. Martin, you have to forgive them because you have spoken so smooth and proud of your personified dream, leaving us this very day to applaud the hands of the clock and our spirits coming closer together in time. We can and we shall accomplish the same things such as you, ironically great named Nobel Prize King. We all know that you are no crown, Martin, but your thoughts, they seem to just circle your mind, crowning your intelligence for a much needed to be taught nation. Your demeanors were ones of sincerity, admirability, compassion, and patience, and peace, given a time of turmoil that was blowing people to the ground, to their very backs, being beaten by the concrete of hatred. With this pain came tears of anguish, opening up chaotic waters with rushing rivers of souls. Too tired to fight. They were too tired to hope. They were too tired to try anymore, Martin, and they were just too tired. They were too tired to even stay afloat. But you provided that lifeline to keep us from all going under the drowning mistakes of this world. But oh, how I wonder, Martin, if they even recall you writing your letters from the Birmingham jail behind these steel bars of an enclosed cell with no bells for you this time, no. Only screams and yells of others' insanities with no bells, no bells, no bells, ringing the alarm for your humanity that you have been done wrong. But you still wrote for God's justice and equality for all with bruised arms. I said you still wrote for God's justice and equality for all with bruised arms. So have we, out of respect for Mr. King, taken the time in our hairy lives to watch the I Have a Dream speech? Have we taken the time to see 1,000 standing firm as he made his monumental appearance in front of the monument of Washington, D.C. Well, Washington, they did see something. And this was more than just black and brown eyes. This was a movement much broader that we shall now call a worldly cry. Because Mr. King, your wise words, they do not go in the skies. We still indeed realize their worth. As they hover over our minds, sending a chill afterthoughts down our spines. Continue to speak. We love what you have to say. Because we finally get it now. That D.C. was vital history. Why? Because it did count. It did care. And it did compel us to understand Martin as he vibrated that fearful microphone, this roaring words and soul that came. Oh, it came. So rare. So what is fair? As we recite your name, Martin Luther King Jr. Well, sir, you wouldn't mind me explaining. It is to bring honor to your name by taking those very actions that you have already promoted time and time again with your rightful screams. Because Mr. King, oh, Mr. King, your speeches, they have embarked us on a journey where years later they have arrived first class. But I must admit, as your students, we are all still learning. As we give our own insecurities reason to hate. It's a false image of justice that you would never want to betray. Because it is in your mirror that justice, it can only be seen when the surface is not cracked, revealing to us that violence is never worth it. Because it can extend across the hourglasses of our fragile lives, making it be the demise of mankind, making man and woman not be so kind to each other. So, to prevent this further harm from my sisters and brothers, we must never forget the hands that he has gripped the podium with a rightful purpose. His feet that he footprinted the stages of our traumatized lives, giving us a history to follow. Streets are named after you, Martin. A holiday awaits you in King County of Seattle. We all adore you, which is why we embrace your name with no shame. Why? Because you set rules for us to follow. Creating a measuring stick, ruling out all anger while not giving an inch of hatred back, but only love that is felt thousands of feet away. Get that? You created a measuring stick, ruling out all anger, not giving an inch of hatred back, but instead only love that is felt thousands of feet away. You're a gift to us, Martin. A treasure chest, as underneath those sharply worn suits, and I have to pause for a second. There is no one that can wear a suit as good as Martin, right? But underneath those sharply worn suits, there was a treasure chest. And in that chest, there was a pounding heart of gold. You were an angel sent down from heaven's cloud-full eyes with glorious pride to help us be a nation bound together. Call us your very own dream team, left by you to this very day, still inspired. And why is that? Because your dream is God's dream, Mr. King. Which is why we bow to him, continually appreciative of your nobility to our human race. This is why today, as a church, we will sing. And I would love for everyone here to repeat after me. Free at last.
Free at last.
Free at last.
Free at last.
Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Mr. King, your name will always remain, and it shall never come to pass. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you all.
want to take this time to respond through a covenant prayer